Guys, it's Louis here, back with another Firo update. So guys, I've removed a lot of support and resistance points just to clear up the chart because I want to show you the true supply and demand zone. So $9.75 to around $10 you can say, because we got some wicks up there. So $9.75 in my opinion is a massive supply zone. Every time we come into this zone, we fall, and we fall. Okay, so my demand zone, which I gave you actually way back up here on this massive green candle, is $8.20, and I gave you this because we had a swing high over here. So $8.20 is our demand zone. Every time you come into this demand zone, you go back up to supply. You fell to demand, open a buy trade, go to supply, fall down, came back to the EMAs, and then you go back to supply. So once you get to supply and you lose the EMAs, you go to demand. Once you hold demand, you should eventually go back to supply, which we did here. And when we get to supply and we fail to break above supply, then we drop back eventually to demand, unless we get held up by the EMAs like this. So what I was saying the other day is that, or the other week, is that we have a good few reversal patterns happening right now with this shoulder, head, shoulder, or you can even call it a massive double bottom here. Like this, and we broke our neckline over here at $8.60. And once you did that, I gave you technical targets to the upside, and I gave a technical target of $9.45, and we met it on this candle. But once we met that target, you fell back below the neckline of the W, or the head and shoulders. And so what this means is that the pattern is no longer in play. You already met the target though, but yeah, the pattern is no longer in play. So what that means is that you're most likely going to test support or your demand zone, and that is $8.20, guys. So we eventually came to $8.20, bounced off it, broke the neckline of the pattern again, and we met our target again at $9.45 here multiple times, guys, multiple times. And we actually got to the supply zone in this time. And when we got to supply zone, of course, we fall. Now, what I was expecting was a retest of the neckline, because once we broke the neckline over here, you never had even wicks back down holding this as support. So what I was anticipating is that we fall back to the neckline and hold this as support. And yesterday I posted on my Twitter, make sure you're following me on Twitter at Louis_crypto, and make sure you've liked this video and subscribe. Ask me any questions down in the comments below. Yeah, so I was posting that we have this falling wedge on our screen. And this is a bullish pattern. And what was even more bullish about this is that we had 3 bullish candlesticks sitting on support, or the neckline of our reversal patterns right over here. You see these wicks to the downside? This means that I went below, but I didn't like staying below, basically. And you got 2 different candlesticks here of these 3. And actually, when you have more of the same candlestick, it actually makes it like more justified. So like more reason for why it would work. And we had 2 here, which were the spinning top and the bullish hammer. But we had 2 spinning tops and 1 bullish hammer. And then this is a bullish continuation pattern, or reversal pattern. So what we were expecting was for this to happen and get back up here to this supply zone, and eventually like come back down to here or to here before taking it out and holding this as support and going to our bullish targets. But this is not what happened, guys. Even though we were in a falling wedge, which has like something like a 65% chance of breaking to the upside, we managed to break to the downside, even though there's a less percentage chance. And what happened when we lost support is we lost the neckline of our reversal patterns. And when this happens, just like over here, what happened, you came back to support and you found support in our demand zone of $8.20. So this is what I'm anticipating now, guys, a fall to $8.20. Now, I know I have my EMAs on the chart, but when we're consolidating, you don't want to use them, guys. They only work in a trending market, so ignore them right now. It's all about price action, and even price action ain't working. And the reason price action isn't working at the moment is because it doesn't matter what your altcoin chart is showing. I said this in yesterday's video. It doesn't matter what your altcoin chart is showing, whether it's bullish or bearish. If it's bearish and Bitcoin just wants to go up, it will just drag every single altcoin up. Your altcoin can look so bullish, just like this, pump, higher low, continuation, mega bullish. But if Bitcoin wants to go down, the whole market will go down. And that's what we're seeing now, guys. So I'm going to show you the Bitcoin chart. So let's go to BTC USD. And right now, guys, on Bitcoin, we actually have a descending triangle with a lot of fake outs to the upside. So here, fake out, little one here, big ones here. Everyone was so excited with this green candle, but look where we're now at. So back at the wick of it, because this is what usually happens anyway, guys. When you have a massive wick to the downside, not always, but most of the time, you go and fill in that wick. And what's happened? Massive wick to the downside, and you've now filled that in. So could this be the bottom? Most definitely it could. So if this were the bottom, I just want to see something like this, and then we go back to these highs up here. Going to our next targets at roughly 74.5k for Bitcoin. However, guys, we're in a bearish pattern, and this pattern's target, if we lose 60k as support, what I'd like to see is lose it, retest this, get rejected here, and we'd fall to this target, guys. Now I'm going to bring up my EMAs, but as we know, we're in consolidation, so we ignore these. But I have this one here, my 200 moving average, and this is sitting currently at 58k. So let me get that exact 58,700, and that, if we go to the left, let me just put a line here, that is higher than this low. So what could actually happen, even though we have a technical target down here, once we lose this, let me move this to the side. So what could actually happen is we could come down to 58k, put in our low, and get back above 60k, hold that as support, and then we're off, basically. This is what I'd like to see. This is what potentially could happen. Remember, anything can happen in crypto. We could easily go down here. We could easily go in a bear market right now. But I'm not seeing a bear market right now, guys. We're in a bull market. But yeah, as long as if you do close a bit above that, then you've got a higher low. But we need to remember that we're in a technical target down to 56,500, which would, as I just said about this wick, it would fill in this massive wick over here. So that's a potential play, guys. But yeah, it's all on Bitcoin. Bitcoin can turn around at any moment. So as I've said, once we lose this support, this is your technical target to the downside. However, as we've seen since July, when we become bullish again, every time we become bearish in the short term, and we have these bearish patterns in the short term, it never meets this bearish target. It's very, very, yeah, if you look back on the charts, you'll see that most of the time it's not meeting its bearish targets. Like it's printing like rising wedges, and it's not meeting its rising wedges targets. So could this be a potential play for Bitcoin, where we do lose support, but we've bounced off here in the short term, putting in a higher low, and then getting back above 60k, not meeting our 56k target, and then we're off ski to 75k. So going back to Firo USD, if Bitcoin does decide to break to the downside, I've given you targets in the past. So remember when we were up here on this massive green candle, I was telling you that $8.20 would be the bottom. However, guys, if you lost $8.20, I gave you this level over here, this other swing high at $7.70 as a base, basically, as a support. And what happened when we lost 820, we went exactly to that. And you could go back to that video and you will see I have not tampered with this line. This line's been there since this video up here when I was over here. So if Bitcoin decides to break down, then it's highly likely that we could see Firo end up going to $7.70. And this is where we'd really like this to hold up, because even if you do come down to here, you're still putting in higher lows above this low. So really, if you don't want to go into a bear, or if you want to remain bullish, the lowest point is in and around $6.80, or let's just say $7. You don't want to lose $7 basically. And I'm not seeing that at the moment anyway. You have in a high here, higher low, higher high, higher low. So this is a bullish structure, guys. So nothing to worry about at the moment, just some short-term bearishness. And I've given you targets now. $8.20, lose that, $7.70. I don't see us losing $7.70, but worst case, $7. I really don't see that either. I think if you even lost $7.70, you'd only come down to $7.50. So I'm going to put that in right now for you guys. That's $7.50. Okay, $7.49, $7.50. Yeah, so that would be your next target if you lost that. But I'm not seeing this at the moment. Remember, none of this has to happen if Bitcoin doesn't break support. If Bitcoin doesn't break support, I probably still think we're going to come back down to here. If Bitcoin was to turn around right this second, bounce off 60k, then obviously I'm going to see a reversal over here, get back above $8.60. And then what I'd like to see after that is get back to this supply zone at $9.75. And after that, our EMAs will come up and we'd probably fall back to them and go up. Perfect, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Peace.